Hi, and welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm Alex. For today's workout, all you will need is your yoga mat or a towel, some space to work out in, a bench or chair or something sturdy enough to hold your body weight, your water, if I didn't already say that, and then if you have resistance bands, so it can be any kind, probably like a light to medium resistance of something like this, or if you don't have resistance bands, you can use just a towel, probably not a towel that you care a lot about, just in case you're super strong and you accidentally rip the towel. Yeah, so all you'll need today is towel or resistance band, place to do your exercises comfortably, water, and yourself. So I'm going to check the stream, make sure everything looks good, and we're going to get started here in just a second. All right. So those of you who have been to the last few classes know that we have recently been starting class with some different breathing techniques. And so today I have another new breathing technique for us. And I actually even drew a, I would say, pretty basic rendering of what we're going to be doing. So we'll do that here in a second. So real quick before we get started, so if you're just joining, so all you need for today's workout is water, space to do your workout, maybe a yoga mat, maybe some carpet, something comfortable to lay on, a chair or a bench or something sturdy enough to put your body weight on, a towel or a resistance band, and yourself. So real quick intro here on this breathing. So we're going to do box breathing today. And I actually don't know if this video was flipped or not, so we're going to find out. But so box breathing, show this fancy little illustration here. So with box breathing, you have your inhale, you have your hold on an inhale, your exhale, and then your hold on an exhale. So there's four corners. There's the inhale, the inhale hold, the exhale, and the exhale hold. So we're going to do an even count around that box. This count might look different for everyone. So some people might find that 5 seconds is too long. Some people might find that 3 seconds is too short. So I would say start with between 3 and 5 second counts on each part, and then adjust to see how you feel. So we'll start by inhaling, and by the way, so again, crash course. Sit up comfortably, or you can lay on your back. You want to breathe down into your belly, feel those lateral ribs expand, maybe the low back, a little bit of pressure as well. Chest is the last thing to rise. So deep breath means deep down, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try to do this through the nose. It's okay if you can't. So inhale, 3 to 5 count, up to you. Hold, 3 to 5 count, up to you. Exhale, 3 to 5 count. And then hold on the exhale, which for most people, that's going to feel the most unnatural or uncomfortable. But I promise there's a purpose to it. So just try to stick with it. So we're going to do this for about 1.5 minutes. Okay. So again, I'm going to talk us through the first round. I'm going to use a 4 count because that's kind of in the middle. And then we'll go from there. So first round, let's start. All right. So we are inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to join you. Keep on counting. You can adjust it to 3. You can go up to 5. Just keep following that box pattern. So So go ahead and finish that breath cycle wherever you are. And when you are ready, we're gonna make our way to the top of your mat or to the top of the space that you are working in. So just notice how you're feeling. You might feel calm, you may feel energized, you might feel like that was really hard to count and breathe. There's no wrong way to feel, just notice how you feel. So when you're ready, come to the top of your mat. We're gonna start with some walkouts. So we're gonna walk our hands out into the plank position, and then all the way back to a standing position. Reach for the sky and repeat for a set of 5. If you feel like this bothers your wrists, try using your fingers to grip the ground. Like think of how Spider-Man grips buildings. Kind of similarly, but that spreads the weight so it's not just in your wrists and palms. It kind of disperses it a little bit more. So think big active hands if your wrists bother you when they're on the ground in this position. So on your final one, go ahead and drop to your knees. You're going to take your hands and place them under your shoulders. Knees are going to be under your hips, aligned with your hip bones. And we're going to do a set of cat-cows. So set of 5. You can inhale when you drop your belly, or you can exhale. It's up to you. But find a rhythm so that when you're switching positions, you're breathing with it. So 5 reps. Perfect. So from here, if you want to just give yourself a little wiggle here, you can go ahead, adjust your hands as you need to. We're going to do a set of 8 bird dogs per side. So extending opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping that core engaged. Nice, slow, and controlled movement. Back and forth for 8 per side. And now I've lost track. So pretty sure that was close to 8. So go ahead. We're going to come up into a plank position for just a second here. Bring one leg forward and then open up toward that side. Switch which leg is forward. Same thing, opposite side. Open up toward that side. Just a couple per side. Don't need to do a ton here. Beautiful. All right. So you can go ahead and sit back for a second into child's pose if you want. Just bring the hips back, fingers reaching forward. Sink the chest and forehead into your mat or the ground. Few deep breaths here, trying to breathe into that belly. Just let yourself sink into the floor. Perfect. So come on up. We're going to stand. So nice wide stance, maybe a little bit wider than your normal squat stance. We're going to come down into a deep squat position. You can grab your toes, you can bring your hands like this, you can keep your hands here, whatever's comfortable. You may not be able to sit as low into your squat as I am, and you may also find that your heels are coming up off the ground. That's okay, so find a comfortable place to sit. We're gonna hang out here for a second and then come up into a hamstring stretch, just letting your body kind of hang and shift the hips a little bit back and forth, and then drop back into that deep squat position. So try to keep that chest up and open. Again, you can kind of play a little bit, shifting back and forth here. And when you're ready, pop those hips back up. And one last time, back into that deep squat. And up into the hamstring stretch. So when you finish that, go ahead and roll all the way up. We're going to do some big old arm circles forward. So keep breathing. Maybe make those circles a little smaller. Smirkles, wow. And then go ahead and switch. Big circles in reverse. You might get some snap, crackle, pop happening in your shoulders. Make those circles a little smaller. And then you can drop your arms to your side. So you can go ahead and sit down again on your mat for a second here. We're just gonna spend a few seconds working on our neck and shoulders. So relaxed pose, whatever that looks like for you. Try to drop your shoulders away from your ears, so relax them. We're just gonna bring our head to our chest, and then slowly, slowly, slowly look all the way around through that range of motion and back. So don't force anything here. Just slowly work through that rotation of the neck. Trying to keep those shoulders relaxed and away from your ears, so don't let your shoulders creep up. And each time you can alternate directions. And on that last one, if you want to just drop your chin to your chest, feel that stretch in the back of your neck. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe shift so you're looking to one side, to the other. Roll those shoulders out. Perfect. All right, so anything else you need to stretch, feel free to do that during the rest of this starting period. So I am going to return to trying to describe everything in bulk rather than doing them one at a time, I think. Actually, no, I'm not. We're going to try the same format we did last week. So last week I switched from describing all 4 movements in the circuit at the beginning of the circuit to doing them before each one, and then the second time through, obviously, we just go straight through without explanation. So we're going to mirror that again today, see how it goes. And then if you have feedback or thoughts and you want to either DM me or drop a comment about how you think about what feels easier for you to follow at home, let me know. So let's start with, so circuit 1 is going to be single leg glute bridges, band or towel pull apart, or YTAs. So if you don't have a towel or a band, don't stress. A rotational or static plank, and jumping jacks. So let's start off with those glute bridges. So you can either, we're going to do this as a 30-second, actually, you know what, I'm just going to run the timer for a minute through. So I will tell you when to switch. So if you've done glute bridges before, you know that you want to have your feet hip width apart, shoulders down and back on the ground, core is engaged. You want to think of pulling your belly button into your spine so your back is flush to the floor. You're going to squeeze your glutes and hamstrings to come up, hold for a few seconds, and then come back down. So that's what a glute bridge with both legs would look like. Single leg, you're extending one leg, keeping that core engaged. Again, remembering not to let the back arch, driving from the glutes and hamstring and back down. So keeping that core engaged each rep. So you can either do regular glute bridges for the full minute, or you can do single leg glute bridges and switch sides halfway through. I'm going to shout out time as we go. So here's your 10-second countdown. And we'll do 30 seconds per leg. And go. And switch sides. Great job. Okay, so next up, we have, I blinded myself with the light there for a second. Okay, so we have band pull-aparts or towel pull-aparts or YTAs. So if you are, I'll start with a towel. So these can be done seated or standing. I'm going to do these seated. You want to sit nice and tall, keeping that core engaged. So you're going to grip like a little wider than shoulder width apart. So as you can see, slightly wider than my shoulders here. My elbows are going to be not totally locked, pretty close to locked. I'm pulling my shoulder blades down and back away from my ears, and I'm pulling the towel apart like I'm trying to rip it in half. So I'm dramatically pulling the towel apart. I can feel the activation in my shoulders by my shoulder blades. So almost like mid-back to my shoulder blades, I'm squeezing. So if you're using a towel, what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and rest, right? So you're going to do that for the full 45 seconds. If you are using a band, so you can wrap that band around your hands or hold it however is comfortable. Same thing, except you're going to slowly come out, hold for a second, come back. Slowly come out, hold for a second, come back. So each rep, you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. If you don't have a band or a towel, again, don't worry about it. We're going to do YTAs. So YTAs, lying on your stomach, arms outstretched. Your head and legs rest on the ground. Your arms, the only thing moving. You're squeezing the shoulder blades together for Y. Shifting your hands up for T, back to the floor, shifting up for A. So I'm making a Y with my body, shifting on the floor. T, shifting A. So any of those are fine. And we're going to do 45 seconds. So 10-second countdown. I'm going to use a band. Again, you can use a towel or a band. It's totally up to you. And go. Great job. Okay, so next we have the rotational or the static plank. So with planks, you want to try to adjust these to where you're at. So if you are newer to a plank, start with a kneeling plank. And you can do these on your hands or on your elbows. So you want to make sure your hips are fully extended, but you don't want to arch your back. So you don't want to be in your plank like this. You don't want to be in your plank like this. You want to be activating that core, hands under the shoulders. You should feel your belly button pulling into your spine and holding. So that's option one. You can also do it like this on your forearms. Next difficulty would be either full plank on your hands like this or on your forearms like this. If you feel like you can do a 45-second plank on your hands or forearms in full extension, then you can try rotating. You can also try rotating kneeling. It's a little more challenging. I would stick with just a static hold if I were you. So rotational plank, I prefer to do these on my forearms, but I'm going to show you both. So if you are in plank position, you are rotating and switching back. So each time I am rotating and switching back. So that looks virtually the same in the elbow plank. Notice that my feet are pivoting each rep. So you want to keep pushing the floor away from you as you rotate. Keep that connection to your shoulder and core. And we're going to do 45 seconds. So 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So last but not least for this round, we're going to do 45 seconds of jumping jacks. So jumping jacks, really simple. It's just like in elementary school. So again, jumping jacks don't feel great for you. You can also do like a walking jack, so you're not actually jumping. And you can do your arms with it, just like this. So modify those as you need. We're going to do 45 seconds, 10-second countdown, you get a break, and then we're going to repeat that whole circuit. Great job. So go ahead and grab some water. And we'll repeat in about 45 seconds. So actually, I'm going to use the timer for that. So you get about a minute of rest here. And then we're starting back up with the single leg glute bridges or regular glute bridges straight through. So ignore that timer right now. It's a very warm 51 degrees in here today. So a few more seconds of rest. And then we are starting with single leg glute bridges. If you want, you can also, so if you did single leg, if you did single leg glute bridges last time and you want to switch it up this time, you can do regular glute bridges. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But obviously, do what feels good for you. So we're gonna do 45 seconds total this time. So I'll actually tell you to switch in about 22 seconds. So we will start in 10 seconds. So go ahead and get ready. And go. And switch. Great job. All right, so grab your towel or band or get ready for some YTAs. We're going to do 45 seconds. So we have a 10-second countdown starting now. You can also stand for these, I think I mentioned. It's totally up to you. And go. Excellent work. All right, so next up we have static plank or rotational plank. You can switch up what you did if you want. If you feel like the rotational plank last time was really challenging, maybe just do a static hold this time. Or you can stick with rotational again. I personally am going to try to do this one on my hands. We'll see how that goes. So a 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So last but not least for this round, we have jumping jacks. So again, make sure you have space. You can also do these like I showed last time. You can do these as like a, almost like a, hold on, like this. So you don't have to jump, but just try to move for 45 seconds. So 10-second countdown. Good job. So grab some water. We give us a few seconds to rest, and then same with circuit 1. I'm going to show us each thing. We're going to do it. Next thing, do it, and then we'll go all the way through circuit 2 without stopping the second time through. All right. So we're starting circuit 2 with squats. If you've been doing this class for a while, you're probably pretty familiar with my speech on squats. However, for those of you who may not be, so feet are at least hip width apart, possibly wider depending on your height and how your proportions are. So if you feel like your stance is too narrow or too wide, try dusting it. So you want to engage your core. Since we're not using weight, I would say you can time your breathing to inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. That might change if you were lifting a heavy weight, but for today's purposes, try to time your breathing as an inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. So your hips are going to come back, your knees are going to come forward, and you're going to descend into the squat, keeping your knees out, chest up. So come back up, and again, core engaged, knees come out, hips come back, knees come forward, and up. So from the side, one more time. Core engaged, hips come back, knees come forward, knees are out, and then back up. If you feel like your squat looks more like this, try putting something under your heels, right? So if your heels are elevated, which you can kind of see with this mat here. So if I put something under my heels and then my feet are on the lower mat, it allows my ankles to not have to bend as far for me to get low into my squat. The other thing you can do is put something behind you so that if you feel like you're afraid you're going to fall over, you can just squat to whatever's behind you, so like a bench per se. And then if you lose your balance, you just sit down. So that's going to be squats. So we're going to start with those. And like I said, we're going to talk through each thing as we go. So don't worry about what's next. Just focus on these squats. We have 45 seconds. 10 seconds, and then we go. Great job. So next up, we have crunches. So these are pretty self-explanatory. You can either have your feet on the ground, knees bent, or you can have legs up. If crunches bother your low back, try extending a single leg, keeping one bent. So for your crunch, it's not a sit-up. You are just crunching up, engaging that core, coming back down. So you don't want to pull on your head. So you can put your hands behind your head if you want, but don't pull on that neck to come up. Try to just set your arms here, engage through your core, lift the shoulders, come back down. So you don't have to come any further than that. Just engage the core, pull belly button into the spine, and release. So we'll do 45 seconds. Variation of your choosing, knees up or down. 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So next up, we have push-ups with alternating hands or regular push-ups. Okay, so we've talked about push-ups quite a bit, but let's talk about the options here. So if you have a wall, you can start with a wall position, so standing nice and tall. You want your hands to kind of end where your armpits are. So place them a little lower than you might think on the wall. Keep your core engaged. Allow yourself to come towards the wall and then press away. So I'm pressing through my chest. If that feels too easy, you can maybe move on to a lower surface. So you could use a chair. I'm going to show you on this bench. So again, keeping that core engaged, lowering, pressing from my chest. Notice I'm making sure my core is keeping engaged. I'm not arching my back. My elbows are coming out at a 45-degree angle. My shoulders aren't up by my down and pulled back. So I'm pressing from my chest. So if you feel like you can do a wall or a incline push-up, you can consider then switching to a kneeling push-up on the ground or full extension push-up. So kneeling push-up on the ground, hands are going to be a little further back than you think, so that they end just below your chest like that. Full extension push-up, same thing, coming down and up. So if those feel comfortable, then you can add in this extra move here. So I'm going to take this yoga block, I'm going to set it here. I'm going to have one hand on the yoga block, one hand on the ground. I'm going to come down, shift, over, down, shift, over. So you can use, doesn't have to be a yoga block, it can be a book, it can be just a slightly elevated surface, but it's up to you. So we're going to do a set of 45 seconds and do what feels best for you. We're starting in 10 seconds. Good job. All right. So last but not least, we're going to do a set of skaters. So skaters, I guess I'm probably going to move this mat. You might want to move your mat. For these, you might not want to do these on your mat, or maybe you do, depending on your floor situation. But so skaters, you are going to be, and you can make these harder or easier based on what feels good for you. So you're going to be hopping side to side, like so. So you don't have to be as dramatic as I am, right? So you can start with like just shifting your weight back and forth. You can then move on to maybe a little bit of a hop, and then slowly making that a bigger jump until it's, a little more explosive. So really adjust these, and if you feel like you can't even do the hops, that's fine. You can even just do like a cross the body situation. Just keep moving. So 45 seconds, skaters, or any variation of skaters / side to side movements. And go. Great job. So grab some waters. Waters. Grab some water. We have one more run through that round. I just managed to flip my mat upside down. So we'll rest for about a minute, and then we'll repeat. Also, I say this every so often during this class, but just as a reminder, especially when we're doing mobility drills, if you're looking at me and you're like, wow, I cannot get into that position, or I am not that flexible, I actually have a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I'm actually very hypermobile. So what's normal for me may not be normal for you. So again, especially with like stretches or like sitting in this position, right? Like this is not comfortable for everyone. So pay attention to what your body is telling you, and if something doesn't feel right, adjust. Because ultimately, what works for one person doesn't always work for other people. And that's the beauty of having workouts that are, custom for you and specific to your needs and goals. So keep in mind. All right, so we are back with circuit 2, which started with squats. So 45 seconds of squats. We have a 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So next up we have crunches. So remember, you can do whatever variation, knees up, knees down, one leg extended. And you only have to lift your shoulders off the ground for these. So 10-second countdown. Great job. So just a couple more things here. We have push-ups with alternating hand position, or just regular push-ups on the wall at an incline in a kneeling position, or just a regular old push-up. So again, modify these as you need. And 10-second countdown. but not least, we have skaters. So feel free to move your mat out of the way, or maybe do them on your mat, depends. Floor situation. So 10-second countdown. You might be hearing a snowplow go by right now. It's quite loud. And also my dog's barking at the snowplow. So 10-second countdown. Sorry for the noise. All right, 3, 2, 1, and go. My dog is really trying to scare away the snowplow right now. Guys, it's okay. Sorry about that. All right, great job. So, a few things left. So, grab a sip of water. This last round, everything will be 30 seconds. All right. So, we're going to start with single leg balance. So you're going to stand on one leg. You can either pull the knee of the other leg up like this, or you can just kind of hover so that if you need to put that other foot down, you can. You can also position yourself so that you can touch a wall or something to help you balance. But if you're doing that, try to bring that other leg up. Think of pushing down into the ground from the leg that you're standing on, so don't let this hip collapse. Engage the core and pull up on the other side. So kind of like a balance of the up and down. So we're gonna do 30 seconds per leg. You can start on whichever leg you want and then switch sides. So 10-second countdown. And go. Good job. Find a spot to stare at if you feel like you're losing your balance. I've got a nice little spot on the floor I'm looking at. Great job. Switch sides. We got a 10-second countdown here. Great job. Okay, 2 more things left. So you have 2 options for this next move. You can either do jackknives or you can do dead bugs. So dead bugs are like a slower, more controlled version of jackknives. Jackknives are going to be a little bit more explosive. So for dead bugs, you are lying on your back, arms and legs up like this, extending opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping that core engaged so your back stays on the ground. You don't let that back arch like this. You want to keep that core engaged. So you can do dead bugs, alternating. If you're struggling with the alternations, start with one side at a time. So just do a few reps, opposite hand to opposite knee, and then switch. If you want something a little more explosive, you can do jackknives. So jackknives, you're laying totally flat, arms and legs extended. You're going to crunch up and across each rep, just like that. So either is fine. We're going to do 30 seconds. So countdown starting now. 10-second countdown. And you'll see me doing jackknives right now. And go. Great job. So last but not least, we are going to finish up today with either a 6-inch or a hollow hold. I think we did one last week. It could have been the week before. But either way, you're going to lay on your back. So we'll start with the 6-inch hold. The 6-inch hold is the variation that I would start with if you are unfamiliar. So hands under your butt, core engaged. Start with both your legs up. Slowly lower until you start to find some tension in your core. So you can hold wherever, as long as there's some tension in your core. Ideally, you want to get closer to the ground, so it's going to be a little harder, but you can always start up here. Also, if your hamstrings are really tight, you might find that you have a hard time extending, so that's okay. Just give yourself a light bend in the knees to allow for that tight hamstring. If you would like to make that more challenging, you can start with your hands not under your butt, so all parts of your body up, slowly lowering out and holding. So your choice. I'm going to do a hollow hold. This is our final thing for today, and then we are done. 5 seconds. Great job. That was a hard class today. Good job. So, to conclude, for those of you who missed the intro, I'm Alex Weaver. I am coach and owner of Alien Athletes. Thank you to ThunderMist for sponsoring this class. This class happens every Monday at 6 p.m. right here on the internet, at least for the foreseeable future. And thank you all for attending class today. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, feel free to drop them in the comments. And I will see you next week. So have a great, safe week, and see you next Monday.